Okay, so I'm doing this video for a guy that's on here, and I got a guy that I got a lot of respect for because he never wavers in his belief, and that's a good thing. You know, and this video is not to waver him in his thoughts or his beliefs. That has never been my goal in any of my videos. My videos were only put out to get you to think. Sometimes words and meanings get twisted. I am not infallible. Everything, for me, is theory and conjecture for the most part. Although I have a pretty decent biblical background, I can see where people have put their fingers in the till and stole some things, and then put back things in that weren't worth anything. In my opinion, the 1,000-year reign is the golden age of Saturn. There's only 3 times that I know of that are pertinent to the 1,000 years. Number 1 is a 1,000-year reign here on earth, which is supposed to be to the Christian. Jesus Christ is here for 1,000 years. Makes no sense to me. Where does he go after that? The second one is George Bush with the 1,000 points of light. Okay, which is in reference to the same thing, which is a Nazistic term. And then you have Hitler himself with the 1,000-year reign of the Third Reich. Now, the Old Testament is written Semitically, meaning it's predominantly Hebrew. Even though they got a lot of their stuff out of Babylonia and Samaria, for this video, we're just going to say it's Hebrew. Okay? And so that being the case, the Old Testament doesn't really have a Revelations. That's the New Testament. So the Old Testament is Hebrew. The New Testament is Aryan, because that's King James. Now you're getting into a whole other group of people versus a whole other group of people with two different, completely different outlooks. The Old Testament doesn't have a Revelations. Okay, so they're not even on that same page. Kabbalistically, the Jews believe that in 2018, this thing just stops. That's it. A doorway opens, and if you don't catch it, that's it. You just missed it, and that's the end of it. You know, the Christian Bible teaches that we're going to go through all kinds of problems. Kind of tend to believe that's what's going on. Although I don't believe that Jesus is just going to come here for 1,000 years and then goes. Jesus comes at the end of this whole thing. Okay? Somebody is going to step in and try and play his role. You can call him the Antichrist, whatever you want to. In my opinion, there's enough evidence for me to lean to the fact that this is part of the golden age of Saturn. It's just my belief. This has nothing to do with the gentleman that sees it from a different angle, and who I have a lot of respect for, by the way. So much respect, I'm not going to mention his names because I don't want nobody giving him a hard time. He knows who he is, and he knows who I am, and that's enough. If we read here, it says, "And the same horn was made with the ancient days, blah, 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 blah. The kingdom of judgment shall sit, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness under the whole heaven." It doesn't say in heaven or above heaven. It says under, meaning this world under heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is in the everlasting kingdom, and dominions shall serve and obey him unto the end of the matter. Which is an interesting word when you say to the end of the matter. Are we talking about a situation, or are we talking about the physical matter? Then this is what's very, very interesting. It says, "As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me. But I kept the matter in my heart." Now we look up this word, right? And it says the action of thinking deeply about something and contemplation. What changed in this dude? Because he was being told this by an angel, basically. Okay, he was getting his information from an angel. What changed that he kept to himself? You see? Something changed in his thinking that bothered him, but he wasn't going to talk about it. In my opinion, and it's only my opinion, this is what it is. Because there's a flip here. Yes, I'd like to believe that Jesus is going to be here for 1,000 years, but it makes no sense. He doesn't come until the end. So why would he be here for 1,000 years and then be gone? It's the other way around. It says that he rules with an iron rod. Okay? We are moving away from grace. We are moving away from forgiveness. When the towers went down, that was the beginning of the end of the grace period. Okay? There's not going to be no more of this forgiveness. That's why the law is becoming so prevalent in your life. That's why the cops are... You're seeing it on every level. You're being taxed to death. The laws are being instilled. You're taking away your freedoms because we're moving back towards the law. And I got something to tell you there, kids. The Jews don't really give a shit whether the Messianic Messiah is Jewish or not, as long as he makes them, the rest of the world, follow Messianic laws, which are the old laws. There ain't no forgiveness in them. You do them or you die. That's the way it works, an eye for an eye. So, because most of you don't have a biblical background, and the person I'm talking to has a very, very high knowledge of the Bible, I'm just pointing out some things on why I believe it to be this way. I can see how Saturn has been wrapped up in this thing from the beginning, how it's wrapped up in it, how it's been slipped in. Its name is 526. The real creator pops his head in only on a couple of occasions in the Old Testament, and then in the New Testament his son is speaking. However, in this case, with Daniel is definitely troubled by something that he doesn't want to talk about, because I think he's seeing the same thing that I'm seeing, that there's a flip here. And that's just my opinion. And it's only opinion. So like I said, I got no quarrel with it, bro. I'm just stating a case. That's it. Because this video really is for you. Because most of the people are not going to get this. It's the return of the golden age of Saturn. It's a 1,000-year reign. That's why Hitler was trying to copy it. That's why George Bush is saying 1,000 points of light. Those guys have nothing to do with Jesus Christ. They got everything to do with the worship of the seal of Saturn. Which is interesting because that's also called the seal of Solomon, which is Jewish. And as I said, the laws are coming back on the world, which are laws without forgiveness, the kind that Jesus stood up against. So, it's just my opinion, but it seems to be going in that direction. So, I wish you no bad luck, and I hope that you keep communicating with me. This is just a difference of opinion. Okay, Christians have that kind of stuff all the time, and I'm not a Christian because that word didn't even exist in Christ's day. You know, I have my own relationship, and that's the way it is. I don't label myself a Christian because even under the description of a Christian, I fall flat on my face. So I prefer not to use that word because I already know that I failed the Father miserably. So I'm doing what little pittance here that I can to try and help out. So, once again, not to dissuade you or change your mind. It's just, let's just leave it at this. I'm just showing you what I see. And just keep up your faith in what you see. I'm just showing you.